What is going on? This is AD with another one. This time we have Don't Trust the Quiet Ones. This one is directed by Roxanne Boisvert. That's a familiar name. Written by Thomas Ambrosini and Zoe Swan. Starring Sasha Berry as Jody, Maya Misalovic as B. I know I didn't say that right. Dennis Andres as Matt. Alright, we start this one off like they like to do with a flashback. We see our main, her name is Jody. She's looking for B. That's her daughter. She's searching around the house, and she can't find her. She finds herself at the top of a stairwell and she sees somebody, but we can't see who she sees. And she said, "Where's my daughter?" As soon as she says that, somebody comes up behind her, pushes her down the stairs, and of course, she's knocked out. You already know how that goes. Then we go 2 weeks earlier and we see B. She's at home. She's in her room and she's looking at her favorite influencer named Izzy online. She's all into this girl. She does makeup and all that stuff. And her mom is downstairs. She's on the phone with her ex-husband, which is B's dad, of course. His name is Matt. And he's upset because they planning on moving out of town. He doesn't get to spend a lot of time with her. And even that day, he was supposed to spend time with her, but they're going to some type of event. He's not happy about it. But B is coming over for the weekend, so he says, okay, whatever. And so they go to the event, B and her mom Jody, to see Izzy. Izzy's having like a meet and greet or something like that. And they're waiting in line, and next thing you know, this guy walks up to Izzy and she's kind of nervous. I think it's her ex-boyfriend, but he's kind of showing up unannounced, and she gets all frazzled and stuff, and she ended up going back to her dressing room. It's at like a mall, so she has like a little area set off to the side down the hallway where she's kind of resetting. Somebody comes into the room and assaults her, and that's the last thing we see is she getting manhandled by some guy. But we can't see who the guy is. Everyone at the event that's outside, they don't know what happened. They just know that the announcers came out, I guess her managers or whatever, whoever put together the event, they came out and said, the event is canceled. Something came up, and so everybody's disappointed and they kind of leave. B never really got a chance to meet her because that was like her idol, you know? She wanted to meet her while she was there. They leave. She's kind of disappointed. Later on, Jody goes to drop off B at her father's house. And when she gets there, her father's girlfriend's there. Her name is Eve. And her son happens to be Gil, which is the guy that came to Izzy's table and was kind of harassing her like her ex-boyfriend or something like that. We know that, but B doesn't really know they know each other. But we's like, oh, that's the guy from the mall. So it's like small world. And Jody's kind of upset that Eve is over there with her son because they don't live there. They just happen to be there. She's like, why are they here? He's like, oh, I'm sorry. It was an emergency. They had to be here. And so she gets over it. But off top, I'm thinking about that kid. Is like, did he have something to do with what happened to Izzy? Because he was there looking weird. Next thing you know, she was being assaulted. So I don't know what's going on. So he's looking suspicious. Later on that night, Jody's at home alone. Like she has this crashing noise and she runs out the front door to see what it is. It's like, what are you doing, lady? It's like, you like 110 pounds and you running outside. I mean, the first thing you want to do is like maybe check your cameras, call your neighbor, I don't know, call a friend, call the police, I don't know. But run outside? That wasn't that wise. She ran out there and she saw somebody running off. And it was a big dude too. And she kind of ran after him like, get out of here or come back here. I'm like, lady, what are you going to do if this guy actually comes back? We couldn't see who he was. He had his face covered. He runs off, and that's the end of that. She calls the police, make a report, and that's the end of that. So even later that night, we find out through, I think, Gil, through somebody, that Izzy is dead. Apparently, that tussle she had with that unknown person got her dead. B finds out she's at her dad's house. She's devastated. And so her dad rushes her home to her mom so she can comfort her. And she's like, why would this happen? It's a terrible thing. Because Izzy, she's like a young lady just rising up in her career. So it's real sad to see this happen. The next day, there's a visual for Izzy. And B wants to go. And her mom's like, nah, you can't go. It's too dangerous out there. What if the person that did that to her is at the visual? She's like, nah. And so B's like, bump that. Later on that night, she sneaks out the house. And this is not like her to sneak out. She's not that type of kid, but she was so touched by this Izzy lady, she went against her mom's rules. She sneaks out. And once again, Jody, her mom, she's home alone. She doesn't know she's home alone. She falls asleep and she hears another bump in the night. So she's looking around, and next thing you know, this guy, you can't really see as a guy, but you know it's a guy. He got his face covered. Looks like the same guy from the day before. he's in her house, he's in the kitchen, and they go to grabbing each other, and he go to tussling around with her. And it's kind of obvious that he's not trying to hurt her because he's way bigger than her, and he's just kind of slinging her around. And at one point, she gets her hands on a knife, and she turns it on him, and it like immediately he gets the knife from her. It wasn't even a chance. And so he's threatening her with the knife, and he kind of turns the knife at her. She moves back at the same time. It's almost like he was using the force. Like, you had to see it. It's all, they was in sync. Like, it's like they was on some type of dance together. It was like a little, anyway, you had to see it. It looks kind of funny. So he ends up running off. Then she goes upstairs. I don't know if she called the police then or that, but she went to go check on B. B's room is trashed. Her laptop is gone. Her stuff is all over. She's not there. And so next thing you know, we see the police at the house, and the mom's on the front porch, and she's trying to explain what happened to the police, and she's trying to say my daughter's missing, and she's worried that the burglar has something to do with her daughter, obviously. And while this happening, B walks up. Now this is late at night, and mom's like happy to see her, but at the same time, it's like, where the hell you been? She's pissed. And B doesn't really explain anything right off the bat, but eventually she says she was at Izzy's vigil, whatever they call it. And she's like, you didn't listen to me, so they have their little back and forth. Next thing you know, the dad shows up to comfort them, and he says, it's not safe for y'all to be here. Y'all should come to my house tonight. And so he invites both of them back to his house that night. The next day, when everybody's kind of getting ready for the day, the police show up at the house because Jody realizes that there was some evidence left at the house in some kind of way. She ties it to Gil, and the police show up and they go to arresting Gil. And of course his mom, Eve, Matt's girlfriend, she runs outside. Let him go, leave him alone. My baby ain't never did nobody nothing. Nah, she didn't say that, but she was like going crazy. Her son's getting arrested, understandably. And then she's pissed off at Matt because he's not really taking up for him. He's like, because he's a criminal lawyer. He's like, I can't get involved, babe. I mean, I don't know it's going to look bad if I get involved, so I can't really say anything. So she's pissed about that. At this point, Eve, she leaves. I guess they broke up. I don't know, but they're definitely not in a good space. And Matt gets with Jody and B, and he suggests that we go off to his family cabin, which is up north, I guess, in the country, in the middle of nowhere. Reluctantly, Jody agrees. You know, she feel like it'd be a good idea to get away from all the drama that's going on. It'd be probably safer to be up there until everything calms down. So they drive out there, and they go into the cabin, and it's kind of like old times, like just the family back together again. I mean, they're cooking, they're playing games, they're laughing, they're bonding, and it's kind of nice. And I'm looking at him like, damn, y'all need to make this work. Y'all can do this. Y'all can do this. I mean, you can tell he really cares for her, and she's kind of like seeing it. She's feeling it, but I don't know. He probably was feeling the same way I was thinking, because he said, hey, you know, let's try again, Jody. Let's try again. You know, we can do this. We can do this. And she's like, nah, we're not the same people anymore, dude. I mean, it's been so long. So much has happened. She was like, well, just give it some time. Let's see if this keeps on going on like this. And maybe in the future, you know, we'll revisit it. But right now, let's just take it slow. I'm not ready for all that. And so he's like, okay. This is after B has already went up to bed, by the way, so she's not there when this conversation is going on. But while they're talking, we hear bang, bang, bang at the door. And they're in the middle of nowhere, so they're like, what the hell? And then we hear a voice say, Matt, come out and face me like a man. That's Gil. What the hell is he doing here? He said, oh, he's probably here for revenge, for him going to jail. Huh? And so Matt tells Jody to go upstairs and look after B. She runs up there, and Matt grabs one of those little fire pokers, and we don't see what happens. All we hear is a bunch of grunting and noise going on outside, but we don't see anything. And then next thing you know, Jody comes back downstairs to check on things, and she sees blood on the floor. So she starts freaking out, and then she finds Matt in the kitchen. He has a big old slash on his side or whatever. He's bleeding. We need to get to the hospital. We can't. He slashed the tires. What does he want? She said, oh, he wants revenge for going to jail and all that stuff. And he said he can't leave, and the phone isn't working either because of the storm that's going on. There's a lot of bad weather going on. So they're pretty much trapped. Like, well, where's Gil? It's like, well, I hit him a few times and he ran off to the woods. He won't be coming back. And so she nurses him, puts him on the couch or whatever, put bandages on him and all that stuff. And he's laid out. Next morning, she gets up. Okay, I'm going into town. I'm going to get some help. It's a 5-mile walk. Oh, you sure? Yes. And so she heads off into town. While she's gone, we go back to B at the house, and she's looking around for her dad. She can't find him inside, so she goes outside. She looks in the shed, and who does she find in the shed? Oh my God, it's Gil. Gil is tied up and gagged in the shed, looking all sweaty and stuff, and what the hell? And at that moment, it cuts to Jody. She's arriving in town, and she runs into Eve, Gil's mom, what are you doing here? And Eve runs up to her and says, where's my son? He tried to come up to the cabin and kill Matt. No way, no way. He was let out of jail because his alibi was good. He had nothing to do with the burglary and nothing to do with the murder and nothing to do with any of that stuff. But I know who did. Who doesn't want you to leave town? Who doesn't want you and B to leave them? Matt. And so she convinces Jody that Matt is straight up evil. She says, why would somebody break into your house? It was him trying to get evidence that was left in the house from Jody, some pictures that was taken at the event. And he's trying to make you take your house off of the market by saying it was burglarized. And he framed my son and all this stuff. And he has something to do with Izzy's death. I know it and all that stuff. Oh my God, you're probably right. She convinced her pretty quick. And so we got to go save B. And I'm like, I don't think he'll do anything to B, but who knows? This guy's kind of out of there. And I guess save Gil too. I don't know. They don't know what Gil is, but so we switch back to B looking at Gil in the shed. And as she's looking at him, her dad, Matt, walks up behind her real slow and deliberate. Dad, what's going on? And this is where we first see like the evil in old boy. We see like his evil fangs coming out because he's like, oh, don't worry about him. I locked him up in here so he won't hurt anybody else. It's like, what? And that's the last thing we see of him. I like it. Now we start to see the evil Matt. It took a while. He was hiding it pretty good. We started to see the signs of it. And so then we switch back to the moms. They're arriving back at the cabin. Now, apparently they called the police, but they didn't wait for the police to come. They decide to go in the cabin on their own. And what are they going to do? Fight their way toward the kids? They have no plans. Like, they don't have a gun. They don't have anything. You go to the basement, I'll go through the front door. So then they split up. It's like, no, if y'all can go in there cop crazy, like they're a crime fighting duo, like who do they think they are? They have no plan, no idea what they're running into. Should at least wait for the cops. So one of them goes downstairs, the other one goes upstairs. Of course, Jody goes upstairs. She's searching around the house. And now we're back at the beginning of the movie, the flash forward. She's searching around the house looking for B, where are you? And then she gets to the top of the stairs. She looks down the stairs. This time, we can see what she's looking at. She's looking at Matt. And she says, where's my dad at? She says that. And then somebody comes up from behind her, pushes her down the stairs. And the guy that pushes her down the stairs is the guy that assaulted Izzy. And B has been seeing this guy around. She had pictures of him. That's why Matt was trying to get to the pictures. Is a guy that he hired. Pushes her down the stairs. Of course, she's knocked out. She wakes up. Matt's standing there looking at her and saying, calm down. Let me explain. I'm like, dude, at this point, bro, there's no explaining. This is not going to go well. What are you going to do? You're going to kill everybody? What's going to happen? And so he like the bad guys like to do, he starts monologuing, telling his whole story, why he did everything and why he did this and how he did that. And he broke down every single detail of his plan. And I'm like, oh, this man really loves his family. I mean, for real, how many people you know that will burglarize a house for their family, kidnap for their family, aggravated assault for their family, even murder? He's willing to kill for the love of his family. Let's get his family back together. What a good man. We can only wish we have somebody in our life that cares about us that much. So anyway, while all this going on, he starts to tie Jody up. I don't know what his plan is. He's going to tie her up to do what? I don't know. It's out of control now. At this point, he should have just ran away, And so while he's tying her up, she's like fighting and grappling with him on the floor. And man, he smacks the living daylights out of her ass. And she kind of was in a daze, seeing stars in slow motion, and they're fighting around again. While all this is happening, Eve, Matt's girlfriend or ex-girlfriend, she comes downstairs and she has a knife, I guess, from the kitchen, and she stabs the henchman, the guy he hired. She stabs him good in the back, like nice and deep. I'm like, oh, I felt it. I was like, oh Lord. And he's like, he gets stabbed good, but he's still fighting. He grabs her, and then everybody's kind of fighting. And then at this point, Matt grabs his gun, and he's like, enough! And it's kind of funny because it is out of control. It's like chaos is ensuing. Everything out of control, and he starts pointing his gun around. And then something amazing happens. At this point, Jody shows us that she has superhuman hearing and senses. So she starts to monologue saying, while you were fighting us and we had you distracted, you forgot they were coming. And he said, who? And then as soon as he said that, the police start following him with guns drawn and grabbing him and arresting him. And I'm like, how did she know they were coming? She didn't see him. There was no windows. She just she perfectly timed her monologue for the police to rush in. It was pretty damn cool. Jodie's pretty badass. So they arrest him. He's fighting and stuff, of course, and he's hollering out to B, I'm sorry, B, I'm sorry, and all that stuff. And, I don't know where B was. I guess she was tied up in the shed. He tied his daughter up. I don't know, but she was gone for a little while and there was no explanation. It don't matter, I guess. And that's pretty much the end of the movie. They show, the future, whatever, end up moving, but who cares about that? I think this is a pretty good movie. It moved along pretty quick. There was really no dead spots in there. The twist was hitting all right. I didn't really see the complete twist at first. I kind of saw it coming after a little bit. What threw me off was the name of the damn movie. That's what made the twist not work for me. That's why I couldn't figure it out, because it said, don't trust the quiet ones. It's like, who was the quiet one? The only quiet one was Gil, and he's somebody you could trust. The person you couldn't trust is Matt, and he wasn't quiet. So the name is real deceiving. They just named whatever they wanted to name. But I thought it was a good movie, above average. So I'm gonna give this one a 6.5, which is above average. And so I hope you enjoyed my review of Don't Trust the Quiet Ones, and we will see you on the next one.